Good morning, everyone. I'm not sure why you can't see me there. That might help if I turn on my camera. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here in Chicago, Illinois, and I'm happy to welcome anyone who is here for our advisory board meeting. I've got terrible allergies, so you may see me grab a Kleenex here and there, but hopefully I'll as well with you in your corner of the world. This morning's meeting is our second fall advisory board meeting, and if anybody wanted to attend, they needed to either watch from our event page or come into this hangout. We had to redo the hangout because I always set this up the wrong way. The way to do this is to go to Google Hangouts and create an event with a hangout already existing and ready to go. But I went to the event page and created a hangout there, and until it does create a room to go with it, but at the very, very last minute. So I always think that there's no conference room available or generated with that kind of invitation. It's a long story, but I always make this glitch because I don't create a lot of hangouts on air every day. So anyway, I apologize, but I did put redirected links everywhere I could if people wanted to join in today. So hopefully you found us and you're in the right place. And I'll keep an eye on my email and on the chat in the Global Education Conference website in case people are lost. If you were not able to make this meeting, it's fine to watch a recording. That's totally fine. So this is being recorded right now, and you'll have the opportunity to watch this at your leisure. The first thing I want to do this morning is kind of talk about the state of the conference and what's going on and that sort of thing. And I think probably the best thing to do is to share my screen. So I'm going, and Tony, feel free to jump in at any time and add your 2 cents or ask questions or whatever. This is totally informal. This does not have to be anything fancy. But I'm going to share my screen, and there's Julene. Good morning, Julene. And I'm sure she's muted until she gets settled, so we'll say hi to Julene in a second. I'm going to share my screen this morning and show you what's going on with the conference. And right now you should be looking at our main web page, which is globaleducationconference.com. And there's a lot of information here, so I want to highlight some of the important things for you to know. First of all, we have about 13 days until all of our proposals are due. They are due November 1st. And there's a chance we may extend the deadline, but we do like people to get their stuff in a couple weeks ahead of time so we have time to review everything. People have time to get training and prepare their presentations and that sort of thing. So really count on that November 1st date as the deadline right now. The call for proposals can be found under the conference menu here. Call for proposals is right, maybe it's not there. It's under presenters, call for proposals, there it is. And the directions are listed there, and they need to be followed step by step. It's really important that everybody follows the directions there, and most people have been. The one thing that people are forgetting to do is put in their conference strand. These are the strands that you can have your presentation sorted by, and they are listed here in step 9. So you need to make sure that in your proposal you include one of these strands indicating where you want to be listed. The IRON strand is for people who are members of IRON only, to differentiate them from everyone else, and Education for All are sessions that are related to the sustainable goals, development goals established by the UN. So if you have anything to do with those kinds of things, you can tag it with those tags and any other ones that you think are particularly relevant. We have right now, let's see how many accepted. I think we have about 50 accepted proposals, which is really good news. Really high quality. We have 51 really high quality presentations that have been submitted from all over the world. All different kinds of people have from different countries have submitted their ideas. and we're looking for more. If you want to give your presentation in your native language, that's totally fine. I would put your proposal in English though and indicate what language you're going to be using in the proposal. If you want to submit the proposal also, twice as a in that actual language you're going to be using, that's fine as well. That's fine with us. We do have one trio that's presenting, I think, in Russian one time, or actually in Ukrainian one time, English one time, and another language, their third presentation that they're doing. They're doing the same presentation, but 3 different times in 3 different languages. And that's also a great way to make things more accessible to people. So feel free to encourage other languages. We'd like to see that representation. Speaking of other representation, we do not have a great support system for other languages right now in terms of having materials translated and that sort of thing, and we're working on it. This is always kind of a tough area for us to get volunteers who can translate things quickly and easily. So just keep in mind that we're aware of it and we're going to be working on it as much as we can. So that's where we are with proposals right now. We typically get 200 to 300 every conference, sometimes even more. So if advisory board members can kind of drum up the friends and colleagues to submit proposals between now and November 1st, we would really greatly appreciate it. We do have a flyer. It's listed right on the front page. That is a good, easy way to send information to your friends. And if you click on Event Quick Links on the front, you'll see the call for proposals, and it will lead you to a document. It'll lead you actually to our call of proposals. Where is the? I thought I had linked to our flyer. I know it's in here somewhere. Call for proposals flyer. Here it is on the left-hand navigation. This is a kind of a digital poster that you can send to everybody, and it lists the directions and what the conference is about in one fell swoop. If you want something that will kind of appeal to people who might be presenters, this is the document to send them. I am going to develop another one that's going to be just for participants once we have the conference up and ready to go. So this one right now is more for people who want to present, serve on the advisory board, volunteer, that sort of thing. And I think you'll find it useful as you look through it. But it's one big kind of long overview of the conference, and has links to the different parts of our conference site that may be useful to people. So that's what's going on with our presentations. I'm going to go back to the website right now, and I'm going to show you our keynote speakers. We have several listed. There are more coming. I'm waiting on their information or for updates to the website. And to give you a little idea of who these people are, we have lots of teachers presenting this year as keynotes. We typically do have several every time, but I think this year we have even more. So the first speaker you'll see here, Pedro, he and Will Piper, who's listed further down the page, actually met at our conference the first year and have been collaborating ever since. And I had the opportunity to meet them both in person last summer because Will's school had an event and invited Pedro and I to speak at it. So we all got to meet for the first time in person, and they're going to tell their story about how they met and what it's done for their work with their students as part of a dual keynote presentation. Pedro also will be giving some of that in Spanish, so I'm really excited about that in particular. Jean Lee is a friend of a friend. She's a friend of Don Buckley, who's presented as a keynote before. And Don has actually traveled to North Korea, I believe, on a junket with Jean a number of years ago, and has fascinating pictures and stories about his time there. Jean is a journalist who opened the first AP bureau in North Korea. And she's going to be in Seoul at the time teaching a course, I believe, and will be giving us an overview of her work and what it's like to be a journalist in North Korea and that sort of thing. So I'm really excited about this. I had the opportunity to hear her last spring at the Korea Society in New York, and I think people will find her particularly compelling. Julie Lindsay is our long-time Global Education Conference leadership team member, and she's working on a new project with somebody named Katie Grubb, who's also listed on the site, where it's called Mandarin Pathways, and they're going to be talking about their new project together that connects schools to China. The next person on our list is Shabi Luthra, who is the Director of Research and Development and Technology at the American School of Bombay. ASB is one of the most innovative schools out there, and they've been doing all sorts of interesting things that have implications for international schools and forward-thinking schools in general. So I think you'll definitely want to tune in to hear how they've approached innovation and what that means. Being global, I think, is really kind of just part of what they do, because they're an international school with students from all over the world. Ann Michelson is a teacher in Norway, and she's participated in the conference for a number of years, and we saw her at ISTE this year, and we're excited to have her talk about her work with her students. There's Will Piper, who, again, will be presenting with Pedro. And then we have two teachers here from Illinois, my home state, Mary Morgan Ryan and Carolyn Skibba, who are going to be talking about their project, If You Learned Here. And If You Learned Here is based on a book called If You Lived Here. And they did a collaborative project with over 70 schools that involved asynchronous and synchronous collaboration. And they're going to talk about how they structured that and the lessons learned and that sort of thing. So I'm really thrilled to have them be part of this conference. And then the last person listed is Katie Grubb, who, again, will be presenting with Julie Lindsay about Mandarin Pathways. We have more people who are coming, including a former high school classmate of mine who is an ambassador now. I'm just waiting for his final information and scheduling information before we book him. But there should be at least another 5-6 keynotes listed by November 1st, hopefully. So that's where we are with keynotes. I'm trying to think what else I needed to talk to you guys about. On our agenda, I also wanted to make sure that we talked about volunteering and promotion and our spring leadership event, which I don't have that many more details to tell you, but I will talk about that a little bit. Let's move on to volunteers. Let me show you what's going on with volunteers. So volunteering is a really great way for people to get to know the conference regular, participants, and to establish some global friendships and opportunities for possible collaborations. And on our front page, you'll see a link to this group here, and you need to join this group. And at some point, probably closer to November, we will have a calendar where you'll sign up for a time slot or two, or more if you want, to moderate a session. And a moderated session, you don't need to be an expert in our platform, which is Blackboard Collaborate. We do provide training, and we have right now we have a recording of that training up so that you can view it. And what you do is you help the presenter get set up with our slides. You make sure the audio is working. You monitor the chat that goes with each presentation for questions and that sort of thing. But it's really not. It's not a lot of heavy lifting necessarily. And we'll do anything we can to support you. We've had a lot of fun with our volunteers over the years. This has been kind of an unexpected aspect to the conference that we feel is really valuable to people who dip their toe into the volunteering pool. We really appreciate everybody's efforts of people who've done this in the past. The other thing about volunteering is that you can do it at your leisure, when it's convenient for you. You can do one session, you can do two, you can do as many as you want. But we do have a volunteer virtual room where we send everybody to start, and we do the assignments of assigning a moderator to a speaker. If you are a speaker and you do want a particular moderator, you can work it out between yourselves and just let us know, and that's fine too. But typically, we assign a moderator to presenters' rooms presenting rooms maybe an hour to a half hour ahead of time. The moderators go in there, they help you get set up, they hang out, they listen to your whole presentation, and they'll help make sure that the recording's done properly and that sort of thing. So that virtual room is a great place to kind of come for help too, because there's always somebody in there who can answer a question or troubleshoot. So we also get to know each other very well in that room. And so we really encourage advisory board members to think about taking an hour or two during the conference week and volunteering. Speaking of conference week, it's a little bit shorter this year. It is, I'll show you what it looks like. It is November 16th through 19th. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to turn off my calendar. And this is what it looks like so far in terms of book sessions and keynotes. So green is the sessions that have been booked so far, and yellow are keynotes that have been reserved so far. What we need to do something about these two. One of the things that we need to fix in the next week or so is the keynote time slots were supposed to be dedicated Opus time slots with nobody else scheduled at that time, and we didn't do that in our You Can Book Me calendar. We have a self-booking schedule tool called You Can Book Me that allows people to select their times, and we didn't block out these times for the keynotes. We typically like to have the keynotes have the entire time slot. So we're going to figure out what we're going to do about this in the next couple days when Steve is done with his Library 2.0 conference that's going on tomorrow and Wednesday, I believe. So anyway, these are all the sessions that have been scheduled so far. By the time November 16th rolls around, this whole thing usually is pretty much filled. Sometimes we don't get a ton of participation from maybe 12 a.m. to about 5 a.m. It depends. And this year I'd really like to see people in other parts of the world join in so that we can be around the clock and have something to offer people at any time. What else can I tell you about this? There was something else I was going to mention about the calendar. So, and by the way, too, we also have usually 3 to 4 sessions every hour. So you can see that, like Tuesday from 10 o'clock probably is full right now because there are 3 sessions that are booked. If we start seeing the calendar get really packed, we will add another time slot later on closer to the conference. But right now we want people to kind of fill in the whole day, and then we'll talk about expanding it by adding another slot. Sometimes we've gone to 5 slots per hour, and that gets a little crazy for people and makes the audiences dwindle a little bit. So we generally try to have 3 or 4 sessions per hour. So if you've already booked your session and you see that there's still availability during your hour, it's not that you haven't been booked. It means that there's other slots that are still open for other speakers. So just keep that in mind. This year, we are starting at noon my time in Chicago, which would be 10 o'clock in the morning in California, on Monday, and we're ending the same time on Thursday. We're ending a whole day earlier. And this is because we felt that by Friday people were really worn out, and that audiences were dwindling a little bit. So we've moved this into only being really 3 full days around the clock. So that's been a change since previous years. If you have not noticed too, we are doing some other event in order to change things up a little bit. This year, our calendar year really starts in June. But let me kind of backtrack a minute here. Global Collaboration Day. I want to show everybody this site. So, so what we are trying to do, our conference has been a lot of fun, but it's once a year for a week, and we really want the conversations to continue on throughout the school year, or throughout the calendar year, really. So we implemented a couple of new things. Not all of them have been new, but our new structure is that the conference year starts in June, And we have something called Global Education Day, which is a face-to-face meetup at a big ed tech conference in the States called ISTE, or the International Society for Technology and Education. And we've done that for the last 3 or 4 years. It's been very successful. Lots of people come out. It's a great way to meet people that you might have met online before. Not everybody can get there, obviously, in person, but we would like to do more of those kinds of meetups as our organization grows, and hopefully we'll do more of them in other places. So Global Education Day kind of kicks off the conference year. We open up the call for proposals for the November event then, and things kind of get underway. Then we've added to this Global Collaboration Day, which you see here, which takes place in September. I think it'll be November 16th next year. And this is an opportunity for people who are experienced global educators to show what it looks like, to actually host activities for collaboration online during this day, wherever you are in your own time zone. And we do use You Can Book Me so that you can book your event at your convenience in your time zone, and whoever can join in can join in. And this year it seemed to go pretty well. It was strange for me not to be controlling everything in all the sessions because everybody hosted it on their own platform. But it was actually pretty liberating, I think, for a lot of people because they could design their own activity and invite people to participate. So the feedback from this has been really positive. And we had lots of outreach partners and people who were interested in supporting this. This event is completely open to all. For-profits and nonprofits can participate alike. Our hope is that for-profits will see the kind of work that we're doing and want to support it. And so that's why we have this day as a pretty open celebration of global collaboration. Then in November, that's when we go back to our main conference, and this is like consider the Global Education Conference to be like a deep dive into what you saw on Global Collaboration Day. And so that's what we're talking about today mostly. And we will also have a 4th event sometime in May, and that will be called Global Leadership Day. It'll probably be April or May, and it will be a 1 or 2 day symposium, invitation only to present, and will be a little bit smaller scale than this event, but really focused on what does it mean to be a global leader, what does it mean to lead a globalized school, and that sort of thing. So I'm really looking forward to that. We have not set a date for it, but there is something called Global Action Week, apparently, that's in existence, and I think we'll probably try to coordinate with that in order to have this event. I'm going to now stop for a minute and see if anybody has any questions so far. Julene and Tony, any insights, questions, thoughts, anything you want to share?
I just have really enjoyed volunteering.
You guys might be muted if you want to say anything.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Okay. I'm also going to check in and see if anybody has left a note on our partner page or on our on the Hangout page. I don't see anybody who has said anything there, and I'm going to check my email really quick, make sure nobody's looking for us. It doesn't look like it. I think we're good. So I'm going to keep going here. But Tony and Julene, if you want to jump in and say anything. Oh, we've got a few more people here too. Welcome everyone. Hi Monty and Carolyn and Lisa. If you do want to say hello or anything, you're muted when you join here. And to unmute your microphone, you click on the microphone at the top of the screen. So if anybody wants to say hi right now, go for it. Oh, there's a chat going too, and I'm not even paying attention to the chat.
Lucy, can you hear us talking? Because we're talking. Do you have your mic on, your earphones on?
Why do I not hear you, Julene? I'm like deaf here. Sorry. Is it me or are my headphones not working?
It looked like
I am just babbling away.
I could hear Tony talking before, so it might be the headset.
It is. Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you at all, and I probably was talking over you, Tony. I'm sorry. So, hi, everyone. I'm just going to bag these. So, Monty, do you want to introduce yourself and say hello?
Good morning. I'm from Hardman University in Henderson, Tennessee, and I thoroughly enjoy interacting with Lucy in global education, and I'm hoping to be able to actually be able to oversee some of the sessions this year.
All right, awesome. We'd love to have you, and you'd be a good expert to have on board. You're a veteran now, Monty. And then next we have Tony. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I've been presenting. I try to present with students. This year I'm at a new school, so I can't present with students this year, but I've been involved since 2009, and I think presenting and volunteering and just being around for this has been great. You meet so many amazing people, so thank you, Lucy.
It's fun, isn't it? I mean, we've had a really great time because we've also had the opportunity to meet in person at ISTE. I met Monty, I've met Tony, I've known Julian for a long time. But it's not just people in the U.S. You know, we have Ann Merchant and we have Julie Lindsay and people like that who are able to make the trek to ISTE, and it just brings it all home for us, I think, when we can meet in person too. So it's awesome. And then we have two new people here. Lisa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, my name's Lisa Petro, and I'm the co-founder of Know My World. We create digital exchange experiences for teachers and social and emotional projects. And this is, I mean, although we're familiar with a global education conference, and we've presented a few times before, this is our first year sponsoring the conference in November, and we're really excited to start working in different webinar opportunities and recommending various resources to the teachers that we work with who want to bring this kind of activity into their classrooms.
So where are most of your virtual exchanges happening? How does it all work? Can you tell us a little bit about it briefly?
Yeah, sure. They're happening all over the world. Although we're registered in New York State, we're really an international group. We started grassroots a couple years ago. We've got a team of educators in Taiwan and also India. And right now we've participated in over 24 countries in exchanges. We've got a pretty big base in Mexico, also Japan and Australia, just to name a few, and the U.S. and Canada.
Oh, awesome. That's great. You might be interested in, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, one of my former students has a startup, a social enterprise that he was a student at Oberlin, and came up with this idea with, I think, 4 or 5 friends. I'm having actually coffee with them this afternoon, and they graduated in the spring and are launching this officially, and it's called Lumen Ed, and it's a video pen pal program. And one of the guys involved is from India or Bangladesh. I can't remember which, but he's in India right now. So they have a big India team, and so that most of the collaborations happen between those two countries. And the idea is that they've invented some sort of box that projects and also acts as a, you know, kind of a Skype-like tool, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it has, I think it comes with like open source, you know, educational materials too. I haven't actually seen it in action yet. But the idea is that a U.S. classroom will buy the device for about $500, and that will cover the device for their room and for the class abroad somewhere in a less fortunate area of the world. And then they do video pen pal exchanges. And so they're kind of an interesting group. They presented last year, and I was actually really shocked because this student, his name is Henry Harbo, joined our community, and I'm like, what's he doing joining my NING? I still think of him as like a 6th grader. And another teacher that I used to work with had said, you should get in touch with Mrs. Gray, so that's why he joined. And probably right about this time a year ago, and they've won, since then they've won a couple competitions, a couple pitch competitions at their school, and they're looking for, I don't know what they're up to right this second, but they were looking at incubator programs, and I'm not sure you know, where that's going. They've also had a Kickstarter campaign and raised a little bit of money to keep themselves going. So you might be interested in them. There might be opportunities for collaboration.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. And we're always, I mean, what we do is we basically teach teachers how to create these exchanges, and from A to Z, communication, evaluation, all these things. And we're always looking for recommendations for teachers to be able to get involved in this and create this for themselves, so that they're not, so that's sounds like a great space for that. Thank you.
Cool. Well, it's nice to talk to you, and I know that I need to follow up with you about the webinar, so I will. It's on my plate, so look for an email from me hopefully this week, okay?
Sounds great. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Julene, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. It's Julene, and I've been around with Lucy for a long time, and we love the Global Education Conference and doing things with you. Right now, I'm working my doctorate with schools in Malawi and other schools in African nations, so it's about developing nations and technology. So some of what Lucy was talking about, I was really listening to. And also, my whole weekend, Lucy, you'll love this, we just published an iTunes U course for Flowbearers International. So if you search iTunes U right now, and also if you search in iBooks for Flowbearers International, you'll see where Julien's weekend was spent. But we're excited about that because we do live broadcasts in the tundra. And then I thought we were going to be on the tundra when the conference is going on, and we could do something then, but I think I'll be gone then, so that's not going to work. But we could do something after I get back. Anyway, so glad to have everybody.
So where are you going in November?
Probably to the tundra again, up to Manitoba.
Oh, okay.
With the polar.
Oh, okay, I thought you went earlier. I think you went early in the year. Is it? It's not frozen over by that. I mean, well, obviously it's frozen, but I mean, it's not. It's not.
This is the subarctic. It'll start. That's when it's going to start getting really cold. And I go. This is probably the latest I've gone, or almost the latest. But no, I've gone in November before, but I have gone October too. So that's why you're confused. It changes every year. One of the fun things we're doing, we're capturing additional street view this time for Google, and we're also, when I get back, I'm using that to create an expedition for Google. So that's the new thing with Google, is the expeditions. Fun to be able to do.
We should probably get somebody from Expeditions to do a keynote one of these days. I haven't been really paying that close attention to it, but they're going to, I think that this Thursday they're going to a school that I used to work with, and they invited me in to come see the pilot. So, John
Bailey in Mountain View is awesome, but his schedule's so crazy. I don't know if he has time, but he's been working on them a lot too. He's in charge of DOT for education.
They were at Karen.
Hello to Monty from West Tennessee. Monty would go back a long ways. We've known each other a long time.
And Julene, you just were at the Clinton Global Initiative too. Tell us about that.
Yeah, talk about entrepreneurial spirit. That was the Hunt Gala, or the whole Gala, and we had about 6 or 7 teams presenting on new types of initiatives around the world, and whichever team came up with it won $1 million for startup. And the group of college kids that was actually done asynchronously, they didn't all go to the same college, that presented is putting kind of like prefab sort of pop-up buildings in developing nations where they don't have early childhood care, and turn those into community centers. And they're also kind of prefab in that sometimes the land is questionable to put on, and so if there's ever a problem, they can pick it up and move it. But they'll have technology in their learning centers and daycare for parents conform to like the board conditions that half of those kids before that. That was fun. And I also went to the Harvard Club for a big initiative with developing countries in Africa, talking about, different goals that they can up through some organizations there, and we had the presence of some of those countries too, so that was nice. It was a busy thing, but it was good.
Cool. You've had a busy fall, I think, as usual. That's great. Keep us posted about all of this, Julene, and it's exciting to hear what you guys are doing. I did hear from George Saltzman, who is the guy that runs Julien's doctoral program. He ran into another woman at a conference who is doing a virtual conference on education research, and she thought there might be some synergy between us and them. I'm not sure if it's happening before or after ours, but she's not. I'm not sure also if her stuff is necessarily focusing on global. But I just replied to them and said, please encourage people to cross-pollinate and also present here, and be a outreach partner. So hopefully I'll hear back from them this week. And then we have Carolyn. Carolyn, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Carolyn Stevenson, and I'm a faculty member for Open College at Kaplan University. And I also am a volunteer environmental educator for NGO called Sea Trust Institute in Washington State. And this is my second year being involved with GEC, as I've presented in the past, and I'm really, really happy to be on this advisory board and working with this group. It's an amazing conference and really is such a great opportunity to bring people around the world together to engage and really talk about critical issues. So thank you. And I actually live in Chicago, Lucy. So.
Oh, really? Where? Where do you live in the city, or do you live in the burbs?
I live in the city. I live in the West Loop, so I'm right by Greektown, and lived there for almost 18 years before it became trendy. It was a little edgy. So.
Changed just a little bit. So you live right by where Google is opening up soon, right?
Yeah, Google's going to open up. I think it's Racine, so Racine and near Halstead's. So okay. Yeah, I think I'll be about 6 blocks away. So it's kind of cool to have them in our neighborhood.
Yeah, 18 years ago, that neighborhood was a lot different. You didn't have that fancy Target there either.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep. Or coffee shops or Madison Avenue with plants. It was a little more urban. So.
Yeah. Wow. And you've got that beautiful park, too. There's a kid park with a really cool jungle gym I've seen. I don't know where it is exactly.
Oh, yeah, that's near Monroe, like a couple blocks away from, like, we have Mariano's and Whole Foods now, and there is more green space. Now there's more dog parks and more parks. They were Skinner Park, so I kind of, I don't know. I always think I'm going to move somewhere else, but I'm just staying there for a while.
Yeah, we miss the city terribly. We moved out here to Northbrook 5 years ago, and we miss it terribly. But I'm in the city fairly often. I was there last week. There was Chicago Ideas Week, which was awesome.
Yep.
And I went to the State of the Union presentation that was great. I went to one on philanthropy that was also great. The founder of Do Something. If people are interested in getting kids and teenagers involved in action, that's a really cool site. And then what else did I do? And then I went to a hands-on lab at a school on the kind of northwest side called I want to say it's Pietro, but it's not. It's Pierre. I can't remember the name of it. But they have the school is a beautiful, fairly new school, really well run, and they work with something called Urban Initiatives that does some pretty cool programming with recess and physical activity in schools. It was great. It was really fun. So yeah, I'm in there a lot. I'm going down there today to see some people and meet with this LumenEd former student of mine. So we miss it. Anyway, it's nice to meet you, Carolyn. And I've seen lots of people from Kaplan in general kind of lurk in the conference too. So we're glad to have you guys on board because you understand online education,
Yes, and I'm going to do the best I can to promote it within our group and maybe get some presenters and definitely a little bit more engagement. So
that'd be great. All right, we have a couple other people who've joined us. We have Ibrahim and we have HM. I don't know what HM's name is. Do either of you want to introduce yourselves? Ibrahim, do you want to introduce yourself? Say hello.
Hello.
Tell us where you're from.
I am not speaking English, but I am Keith.
Okay, welcome, Ibrahim. We're glad to have you. And then HM is right next. HM, do you want to introduce yourself? I don't know what your name is. Junior, HM Junior.
Yeah. You're welcome. Where are you from?
Okay, if you want to introduce yourself, feel free. Ibrahim, I'm going to mute you, okay, so we don't hear you in the background. Okay, HM, do you want to say hello?
No, understand.
Okay. Okay. looks like we have some people here from the Middle East. Maybe we had a woman from Egypt on our first call today or yesterday, and it was 3 in the morning in Cairo. Okay, so I'm gonna mute him because I still hear background noise. I don't know what that is. Okay. Hopefully we won't get the background noise, but if anybody wants to talk, just let me know. The last thing I want to talk about is
I am Ibrahim Jamal Abu Salim from Jordan. Age 23. Old years. Old years, yeah. You're welcome. Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, it's fine. It's just hard to talk when there's the back. Do you want to say hello, Fidya? You need to make sure that you're unmuted by clicking the microphone at the top of your screen. Maybe Prayag doesn't have audio. So Prayag, you're from India and you're the headmaster at a school? That's great. We're glad to have you, and if you do want to say hello, make sure that you start speaking.
Yeah, hello.
There we go. Yes, we can hear you. Yay!
Yeah. I am Prayag Singh, headmaster at Vidyaniketan Birla Public School, Pilani. It's in India, Rajasthan. State is Rajasthan. It's the land of desert.
Okay.
And I'm the headmaster in an organization that is a school. It's a fully boarding school.
How old are your students?
Yes, students are from grade 3 to grade 12. Around 1100 students are there.
Oh, it's a big school.
Yeah, it's the largest boarding school of India.
Wow, 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 wow. And you run the whole thing?
Oh, pardon?
And you run the school? You're the principal? You're the headmaster of this school?
Yeah, I'm the headmaster of this school.
Wow, that's a big job.
Yeah, just now we have started that global education. So we have introduced all kind of devices, internet-based devices, global conferences, etc. Just now we have started.
Oh, that's great. So this is something that I was joined. I pasted the wrong link. It's Lumen Ed. This is a former student of mine is connecting schools around the world with a device that he and his friends have invented, basically. And a lot of they have a team in India. There's the website.
We need to develop some. I need to develop some exchange program also.
Okay. Okay. So this one, if you write down that link and send them an email, they have a pen pal program for schools, and they have some of their team members are in India right now. I think they're in Mumbai, but I could be wrong. So make sure you check that out. Then the virtual exchange person is Lisa. Lisa, if you want to put a link in the chat to your organization, then he can find out about that as well.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, and I see that we have another person that joined us, Michelle. All right. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. And Michelle must be, Michelle, are you part of the same doctoral program as Julene here, or where are you getting your doctorate, Michelle? She doesn't have her microphone set up. She's at Texas Tech. Okay, in Lubbock. Okay, great. We have Texas graduate schools representing today. Okay, thank you everyone for introducing yourselves. I want to make sure that we go over a couple more things, and then I'll let you go because we're running out of time. But the conference is coming up starting November 16th. I'm going to show you, I'm going to share my desktop again and show you where you can go to get materials to share with people. So you should see my desktop right now, and I'm going to go to the conference website. We do have badges for the conference members, and I don't think I've published them yet, and I can't believe I haven't done that because I've had them for months. But we do have graphics for people to use, and you can put in social media, and I'll get those up there today. You can see, let's see, it's taking a minute to come up. Hang on. We usually have a page that says badges or images, and I will put it up on the left-hand side under conference information later on today, and you can feel free to grab a badge and add it to your social media presence or your Facebook account or whatever. You're more than welcome to do that. I completely forgot that I have those graphics, and I don't think I have them linked up here, but I will get that done today. The other thing to know is that we have a flyer here, the call for proposals, which is open through November 1st, as I mentioned earlier. If you can send this to friends and colleagues and use this to publicize the conference, that would be great. I will put the link in the chat. I will do another one of these. That's not what I want to do. I will put another one of these together for when the conference starts for people to be able to participate. This one is really focused on, hang on, I just lost it here. There we go. This one is really focused on getting people to present. So if you have a project or an organization or some sort of activity that involves an international aspect of education, we'd like you to submit a proposal. And we'd really like our advisory board members to do that if they have some expertise to share. So this is kind of gives you directions on how to go about submitting a proposal, that sort of thing, send that out. So that's one resource that's available for promotion. We also have, and my network is going really slowly right now, we also have a couple of other resources that are available here. There are a couple other posters that are, and binders of information that may be useful to you as well. So 10 ways to connect globally is how to get involved with, let me open that up so you can see that. Open it up in a new tab. And then we have another one that says Global Education Resources right on the front page. And let's see if it will go there. Okay, here we go. So these are a couple of things that might be useful to anyone interested in global ed or interested in promoting the conference. The 10 ways to connect globally document is how to kind of navigate our website and how to get involved with all the stuff that you see on the front page. It's a lot of, it's kind of overwhelming to people because we're using a platform called Ning that we can't customize entirely. And eventually we're probably going to need to move from Ning, but for right now, this works for us. And this is kind of a guide to how you can get involved in our community and some tips for exploring the content that's kind of hidden behind the surface. So this is one thing that you can use to explain to people what our conference is about or to help them get more involved. The other thing that's linked on that front page too is a notebook in Evernote. And this is where I bookmark websites that have to do with global collaboration. And anyone is welcome to go in here and look at the resources and links that I've put in here to things that may be useful to you and your school. So both of those things you'll find on our front page here under Event Quick Links. If you guys can help promote by sharing those resources, that would be great. The other thing to think about in terms of promotion that's important is we're using Twitter quite a bit. Let me show you what Twitter looks like. I'm sure most of you are on that. I hear some background noise there. If somebody wants to mute. Anyway, here, this is my Twitter account, and we use the hashtag GlobalEd15 to promote different aspects of the conference. So if you type in hashtag GlobalEd15.
Hey, Lucy.
Okay. Bless you. Somebody's sneezing?
There is someone that has joined us that's showing something vulgar that you may want to get rid of.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I'm trying to get rid of him. I'm going to stop. Okay, he's gone. Oh my god. That is the first time that has ever happened to me. That's really awful. Sorry, everyone.
I just wanted to draw your attention to it quickly.
Yeah, I think so. Stop, Lucy. Stop broadcasting. Oh my goodness. The joys of public stuff, right? That has never happened to me before, ever. Ever, 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 ever.
So,
but we're okay.
So if this is going out on YouTube, you might want to keep that.
You know, I'm going to wrap this up, Ray. We're going to be okay, Monty. I'm going to wrap this up in 2 seconds, so we'll get rid of that. We'll stop. So anyway, on Twitter, if you type in, I had a student land on a site that was inappropriate once, and I think my reaction then was, oh my god, too. So, oh my gosh. Okay, so if you type in GlobalEd15 into Twitter, you will see, hopefully, you will see all the tweets that have been going on about the conference. And so if you want to follow what's happening with the conference, this is the hashtag to follow to kind of keep in touch with everybody, okay? We consider this the back channel of our conference, where people are having conversations and are sharing resources and that sort of thing related to the event. So if you want to stay in touch with us and not have to go to our website all the time, this is where we'll put announcements and that sort of thing as well. I am also using a tool called Remind to post messages to people via text. And information about that is also listed on our front page. And you can see it right on our front page with the directions on how to download the app and that sort of thing. So right now I'm going to stop sharing my desktop. But I'm getting the spinning beach ball here. Hang on a second. And I'm going to say goodbye to you guys, and thank you for coming. So everything's going to be really kind of starting to be go to faster pace about November 1st. We're going to start offering training for people who want to learn to use Blackboard Collaborate in order to be a volunteer moderator or to be a presenter. So look for information about that. Right now we do have a training video posted on our website if you do want to look at a recorded session. And if you are interested in moderating, make sure that you join. We'd love our advisory board members to get involved a little bit further by becoming a moderator, volunteer. There's a group on our front page where you can join that group, and we'll let you know when the volunteer sign up will take place. Steve Hargadon, my co-chair, is in charge of that, and he's in the middle of another conference right now, so I'm expecting that he'll get going with those kinds of announcements at the end of this week or next week, once he's done with his current project, the Library 2.0 conference. If you guys are interested in seeing what this conference looks like from the librarian's perspective, if you go to learningrevolution.com, you'll see links to the librarian events that are happening today and tomorrow that Steve runs completely separate from me. So that's a good way to kind of get a preview of what a virtual conference will look like if you've never been to one before. So this is the link to Steve's website, learningrevolution.com, and he is hosting the Library 2.0 conference online starting tomorrow, and today is, sorry, this is not, everything's going very slowly on my computer. and today I think is International Librarians Day or something, and he might be hosting something with that as well today virtually. Why is this not going? Anyway, it's learningrevolution.com. I tried to paste it in there, but it's not working terribly well for me at the moment. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email me at any time, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And thank you so much for coming and for all your support. I'm around online, and if you want me to answer any questions, I'd be happy to do so. If you have to listen, and we'll see you online soon. Thanks, everyone. I can't see my computer. There we go. Thanks for coming, Lisa. My computer, it's really